All right. Well, how is the day going so far? Yeah, so good. So good. There's so much good stuff. I really like it. I really like the size. I feel like I've had a chance to really see people and say hello and either reintroduce or introduce for the first time. So I'm going to just build on what we talked about this morning. So this morning I kind of set the stage. So if you weren't there for that, go next door. Just kidding. Just kidding. But I'm excited to be able to have two things in one day, because now we get to practice and we get to play with this. So my goal is that you get uncomfortable, that you go, I don't really want to do this. That's exactly right where I want you. We're going to play. We're going to go through 3 rounds of integrating and practicing and playing with some of this. We're just going to scratch the surface of how do I begin to or strengthen existing coaching skills in the work that I'm doing, whether it's leadership, front desk, direct service, whatever it is, all right? So I don't have a clicker or a microphone, so I have this little number, but I'm hands-free, which is how I love it. I want to, just kind of set the stage of these beautiful coaching moments that many of us find ourselves in all day long. These really beautiful moments where people go, I either was told to come here because I have to do something. I want change. I'm ready for change. I don't know exactly what that looks like, or I know exactly what that looks like. And we find ourselves in these beautiful coaching moments. So I would like to have you review a few of these slides this morning. So I'm curious if anyone could tell us why this slide is important or how it connects to our work as coaches.
I wrote this in my little notebook.
Oh, great.
I just love it because we think that success is a straight line, and it's not, and we all do crazy little things, and it's 2 steps forward, 1 step back, a side step here, side step there,
Yes.
And success is different for everybody.
Exactly. Yes. And how does coaching then relate to this?
Well, I guess if you're if you're on a journey with someone, then you're not going to be as frustrated if they're not going in a straight line, because self-awareness, I haven't gone in a straight line.
Yeah.
Right? And so I'm going to be more present to the person that I'm working with.
Beautiful.
And they're going to feel more supported.
Yeah. Excellent. Okay. I'm going to add to that. Love that.
Your whole fan club is here, by the way, which I love.
Oh, good.
One thing that I found really thought-provoking is the assumption. So tackling the assumptions, you said all of our systems are based on the straight line. And I found that really thought-provoking. So I would think, as far as coaching goes, tackling the assumption that it's a straight line, and so we're always winning, so much winning, we're tired of winning. And it's really more the circuitous route.
Yeah, I love that. I love that addition. And we're tackling that assumption from a systems standpoint too, right? Not just from those we're serving, but our systems that are created to serve in a very linear approach. Yeah, excellent.
I think sometimes when you go for something and you really want it, and then when you don't get it, you learn more than if you were to have gotten it. Not because you don't deserve it, it's just that for myself, when I expected something or I was hoping to get an advancement or whatever, and I didn't get it, it was just a learning opportunity for me.
Yeah.
For whatever I was going through. And so that is life. I don't know anyone that does it.
Yeah. I love what you're saying. It can be such a learning opportunity if we take it, if we're led there, if we're held there in a safe space and activate that caregiving part of our brain, right? Yeah, absolutely.
To view that as a failure. And that starts in grade school.
Yep. Yeah.
And educator, been an educator for my entire career, and I can see where, not that the educator had the intent to harm a student, but just a comment like, why can't you get this? I've explained it 10 times. Just that comment.
Yep.
You know, that student will start to believe and accept, I'm never gonna get this.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then and that starts, I mean, little bitty, first, second, third grade.
Yep.
Can shape their awareness of where they can go.
Yeah.
If we don't have coaches.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, love that. We just had Southern Oregon ESD, I always think I always want to say school district, but it's not that. We got to we did a 3-day training with their CTE instructors on coaching. So it was power of intention, essential coaching skills, 3-day training, how do you coach the employability skills to students. And it was so fun. Coaching is such a powerful tool regardless of how we're working with people. Okay, how about this? What's the importance of this slide, and why is it important to us as coaches?
If we're starting with purple and expecting them to already be there, it's probably not going to happen. We have to be willing to meet them in the fear zone and work through to learning and then grow.
Yes, so important. Especially with brains that are being formed in poverty, in generational poverty, and brains that are being formed around and through trauma.
I think you need to accept too that not only do you need to meet them in the fear zone, but their natural bend is pulling them back to the comfort zone.
Yeah, yep. Yeah, and really, we could shift from the pronoun they to we.
Yeah.
Right? This is all of us with human brains, which should encompass all of us.
Yeah, I think if, as a coach, you put somebody from nowhere to the growth zone, you are denying the whole generation of information from one person to another,
Yeah.
whereby everyone would just feel this is where I belong. But they don't know the process, how this person came to it.
Yeah.
Neither would that person be able to guide anybody on how he arrived there. So it will
So
be
good.
a lot of confusion,
Yeah.
misinformations, and it's going to cause havoc to the
Yes.
society.
I love that.
So if we can share the process from the beginning, irrespective of who that person is or the education he has to start from the scratch.
Yeah.
The process that the information he got from you is going to share to other people.
Yes. I love it. I love it. We pass it on. What you just said also made me think, if we're talking about someone receiving TANF and they go get a job, is it just birds and bees and butterflies over here? No, we've got this cliff benefits where they might actually be struggling more with making it, right? So in here, we want to really build that work that you are resourceful. You know how to look at all of these things that you've done and created, and how do we then apply? We're just in our next level. This just goes again and again and again, right? So how do we learn to be with ourselves here?
Well, how to coach themselves.
Yes.
Because the CTE instructors, they're not gonna get that out in the workforce necessarily.
Yeah.
So we're coaching them.
Learning to self-coach in there. Absolutely. Yeah. Excellent. Anything else we want to add to this? Whoops.
With compassion, because I was just so focused on that end result.
Yes. Yeah. To me, I love what you're saying because it also makes me think of how are we measuring success, right? We've got that bell, somebody got a job, right? But what did it take to get there? And how are we measuring those other successes? Because that matters. Yeah. Excellent. Okay, and one last review, which is the definition of coaching. And I just want you to take that in again and think about that, because that's what we're really going to play with here. So when we're saying things like, have you tried? That's not coaching, right? What you're going to do next is, that's not coaching. They're important, and we want to visit that land, but when we're coaching, it's thought-provoking and creative. So if I say, well, have you tried this, and have you tried that, and have you tried that? Who's doing the thought-provoking work here? Me. I'm working pretty hard at that, right? And you're just going through a list. So we're going to listen, and we're nodding. We're like, yes, yes, yes. And then you're going to turn to practice, and then you're going to say, hey, have you tried? And just hear yourself, because we do it a lot. Let me tell you what I did. Oh, I know. I've been there too. Those are all moments, we call that jumping in the pool. We've just jumped in the pool, and we've made the scenario about us. And really talented people that I've coached lead me to the end of the pool and let me jump in, because now the pressure is off, right? The change that I don't have to do the change anymore. You do the talking. So we're really, really thinking about this. How are we, there is an art and a science to coaching. How have I started the conversation? What are the body signs and the signals that I'm reading from you? What parts of the brain do I think I want to activate to help right now? Do you seem really stressed, and do I need to bring it down and activate the parasympathetic nervous system? And we learn how to do this and how to read all of that. Oh, they're having a lot more fun over there. We just woo! We're rocking too. All right, keep us awake here at the end of the day. All right, so here's what I want to start with. This is a platform for coaching. So you heard me say this in here this morning, but this starts with us. We set the stage. If people don't feel safe with us, we're not going anywhere together in any real growth or change, right? So you heard me talking about coaching with compassion. You heard me talking about Richard Boyatzis. He has something called an intentional change theory, which we don't have time to teach today, but it is based on something he calls reach. So we're going to talk about this. And then we're going to practice it. Then we're going to play with it. Okay, this will be practice number 1. Now, again, none of this is like, oh, wow, mind-blowing. I never knew I should be like this. And probably a lot of this you're already doing. What I want to do is name it, because it matters. You're doing something really well, and you're doing it, and it makes a difference in those you serve, and we should name it, and then grow the areas that maybe we've brushed off, or we've forgotten, or have gotten a little dusty over the years. And we practice reach when we're coaching. We practice reach, whether it's over the phone, whether it's over Zoom, whether it's over Teams, whether it's in person, or whether it's in groups. So this is who we are as coaches. So I'm hoping that someone will read this first one for me. Great, thank you.
Create a supportive, trusting, positive relationship where we are focused on the other person over ourselves.
What does that mean? Thank you for reading that. What does that mean? And specifically, we're focused on the other person over ourselves.
What you said earlier about, it's not about us, it's about them, so keep focus on them. How would I describe that? Creative, well, you know, I think I would ask questions, but then also not say, well, I understand because that happened to me, and when I went to college, blah, 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 blah. Sometimes that will work. Sometimes I've done that before, but not when you're trying to create a safe environment. And I want them to know that I am there for them.
Great.
And this is about them.
This is about them. Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
the subject will be them and why and what we're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. Great. And think about this from how we're bringing people into our programs. Very often, the first meeting that they're having is what?
Intake.
An intake, which is essentially we're going to learn about your gaps and the weaknesses, and then we're going to tell you all about what we can do for you, right? It's exactly what it is. Well, what makes it terrible, Cheryl? Your words, not mine.
A little flair on it, but you're right. Essentially, that's exactly what it is.
Mm-hmm.
You know, exactly. I don't talk about weaknesses at all in my first, I try to do, you can get a lot of information from people without talking to them. Oh, tell me what do you need to work on? If you talk to them about how their last job went, maybe it didn't work out. Tell me more about that, and you're gonna get bits and pieces without having to ask that direct question.
Yeah, yeah,
You know?
yeah, yeah, excellent. So we're creating a supportive, trusting, positive relationship where we are inviting those positive emotional attractors. We're activating a parasympathetic nervous system. We're activating that caregiving part of the brain, right? Those empathetic networks. And we're doing that on purpose. So it's not that we don't deliver the information about who we are, but first let's learn about you. What's important for me to know about you? Where, whatever questions, and we'll play with these later. So resonance, and that might be in how we're creating our environments. What does it look like? What does it feel like? And it might be what we're saying and how we're being and how we hold our body. The second is empathy. Anybody willing to read that one?
Shifting concern from wanting to be understood to understanding others.
Great. Seek first to understand, right? So we're asking a lot of questions. What was that like for you? What did you learn from that? What's important to bring forward from that experience, right? We're empathizing with where they are rather than, again, kind of laying out the lay of the land and how things are going to go. Aware. Who's willing to read that one?
I'll read it.
Great, thanks.
Clarity on our mindset and emotion and their impact on the people and environment around us.
What does that mean? This is an important one.
Self-awareness, and if we're not, I was thinking at the beginning, we're focusing on the other person. If stuff is going on for ourselves that we can't focus on the other person, we might need to take some time to check that out.
Yeah.
So that we can be fully present for that.
Yes, 100%. Yep. I don't know about you, but I have in the past when I've worked with people formed some opinions about them. And about the amount of times that we have set up a very successful plan that they did not execute, right? And now they're back again. And that is going to impact my work with that person, whether that's somebody walking through a front door or a colleague of mine, right? So how can I do my own work, whatever that looks like? How am I clearing this so that I can fully be here? Because it does impact their work and our ability to serve them. Compassion. Who is willing to read that one?
I will.
Great.
Listening and responding to the emotion beyond the person's words.
Yeah. Yeah. So we are, you heard me say this morning, in vulnerable, sacred spaces with people. And we have to get comfortable with them being in the fear zone. Sometimes we rush people out of the fear zone and back to the comfort zone because they're crying. What am I supposed to say? Everything's okay. Oh, don't cry, right? So one of the things we do in coaching, and again, we're not going to learn all of this, but we practice something called BEMERS, which is behavioral manifestations of internal representations. Blah. But it essentially means I'm listening beyond what it is that you're saying. And then I'm reflecting it back to you. I'm not saying, oh, you look sad. Instead, I'm saying, I see tears. What's happening for you? Right? We're not interpreting that. Or I noticed when you talked about that, your whole face just kind of got into a smile and you started using your hands a little bit more. What's happening for you? Right? Aha moments when we feed that back. We're creating aha moments. We aren't interpreting it. We're just feeding it back. And then finally, hope. Who's willing to read this one for me? Great, thank you.
We unleash positive emotions and uplift others when we help them envision a brighter and better future.
Yes. I love this phrase, unleash positive emotion. Unleash. Like, we're not creating them. These folks we are experts in our own life. What we're looking to do is align values and vision and unleash an ability to believe that it is possible and that they are worthy of that and capable of that, right? So if we thought about our jobs, we just hired a new team. We just hired a new team, and we're talking about titles, and they all said what they want their title to be is hope dealer. And I was like, let me think about that. I don't know. But I love it. I love it. Right? If we thought of our role as that, if you're a leader of an organization, what if your leadership role was, hi, my name's Tiffany Grimes, I'm Hope Dealer in Jackson and Josephine County, right? Wow, that might make me engage a whole lot differently. What I'm nodding to and what I'm taking notes on and what I'm emphasizing. So you're going to practice reach with each other right now. See, this is where you get uncomfortable. I just felt a lot, whew. So you've seen these. These were the questions this morning that I put out to open up positive emotional attractors. So you're going to be doing multiple things in your conversation with somebody. But you're going to ask, each of you now will get a chance to ask and to answer one of these, and you can figure this out with your partner how you want to do this. You'll have about 5 minutes each. As the listener, you're playing the role of a coach. You're practicing reach. In fact, I've got cards for you just to remind you, and I'll put it up on the board. So you're practicing this. So thinking about how am I positioning my body? What am I nodding at? What do I mean when I say what am I nodding at?
What are you reinforcing?
What are you reinforcing, right? We do, because we often kind of think of our identity as fixers, we nod and take notes when we know you don't have what you need to get to where you want to go. But what if we also nodded and took notes when we heard about strengths and resiliency and things they did really well, right? So you're noting that. You might also have a lot of interest in what it is they're doing, and you're just being self-aware, like, ooh, I'm noticing I really have an opinion about this, or that I would like to interject. Or ask them, well, have you tried buying a lottery ticket? That would be their first step to winning that $50 million. Let me tell you about when I bought a lottery ticket and what that was, right? So just noticing your own pull without reacting to it. Just noticing what's happening for you. So your job is to practice reach. And I'll put it back to the questions so you can see those. You should all have notes, and let me know if you need more. If we don't have enough. And you can ask some questions, and we're going to play later with it, with some coaching questions. But think about things just like, tell me more. How would your life be different if that happened? How would you know you had met your outcome? Play around with some questions like that. Okay? Thoughts or questions about
be my legacy there? I intentionally left out details, so it provoked her to use reach.
In what way? Like literally reaching out? What did you do to get more detail from her?
I asked her to elaborate because she said in her legacy she wanted to, what did I write down?
Is it okay that she shares your legacy?
She wanted to empower people through demonstration, love, and living. So I wanted to know more about that.
What does that mean? Yeah, great. What does that mean? So often when we're coaching, it is the first time people are saying these thoughts out loud. They've been playing in here, but it's the first time we've said them out loud sometimes. And so tell me more, right? Like let's keep unfolding that. That's beautiful. Okay, so we asked for more detail. What's another way that we very specifically and intentionally reached?
Compassion.
Compassion, what'd you do?
We did if you had $150 million or something, but with that conversation it transformed into money and stress. And every time that came upon that, who were coaching would bite their lip and started fanning themselves. So I was kind of like, anytime we start talking about money or stress, I see that you're biting your lip, and now you're starting to get hot, and we kind of started going that way.
Love it. Yes. Love that.
Their outfits, which I think was very compassionate.
Love that. So we just reflected. We give off so many details about what we're really thinking or what we're really feeling or what we're really afraid of, and we're not saying it. So when we reflect that back without interpreting it for people, it can be so powerful. These are patterns that they're repeating over and over again. There's something there, right? Great, excellent work. What else? That's 2. Yes.
Resonance, I think Marty and I both naturally did a lot of and eye contact and nodding and looking at each other in the eye.
Yeah. I'm turning and I'm looking at you. Yeah. And we're busy, right? And it can be really distracting to be on our computer while we're talking, taking notes. And so to really wholeheartedly turn and listen can be a very powerful way to connect with people and create safety. Or not. We have to read that, right? Or they might go, ooh. We used to coach this, he was a kid. He was like 16. And we would be giving him all of and he would say, could you just look at this? He would take one of my business cards, like, could you look at my business card and talk to me? Because when you look at me, it's really intense. Absolutely. Yep. Right? And then that's a great conversation starter. What's that feel like when you move, right? It's a great coaching moment. All right. What else? What else did you do intentionally?
Something that Kathy shared was something that I also recently did, and my mind right away went, oh, I did that too. But, I didn't voice that, but, my initial, experience.
This connection. Yeah. And I think it's really important coaching isn't the only tool. We are experts in things like housing and helping, job resumes and resources. So there are times where we want to put on our consultant hat and say, do you mind if I share a few ideas I had about what you're talking about? Because I've been doing this for a while and I think there's some resources that might serve you, right? Get their permission to do that. Coaching isn't the only tool. It's just that when we are coaching, let's actually coach. Yeah. Okay, let's do one more. We'll do 5. What's one other way that you intentionally practiced reach?
Using hope.
We'll go 6.
Just reflecting back to the person and saying, hey, that's, I can tell that you learned this by reflecting and talking about it with me, and so what are you going to do next?
Yeah.
And, oh yeah, I'm gonna take this back to the office and use it in the future instead of just leaving it here at the conference.
Yep, love that. In coaching, we call that, I hope you use your shoulders like that. In coaching, we call that collaborative close. We aren't just putting a plan together and sending them out, right? In coaching, we spend sometimes a third of the conversation on closing it up. What did you learn today? What was the most important thing? My favorite question is, what are you walking away with today? And it's often totally different than what I thought they were, that they put in their bag and walked away with that day, right? What kind of support do you need? What does accountability look like? What do you see your plan being? How does this relate to your ultimate goal, right? We're closing it up with this hope. We don't just have a plan, right? Digest this. Now that you've digested this, now what? Great. All right, and we had one more back here. Yes?
So what I was going to share was I intentionally summarized part of it, thinking about the compassion, listening, and responding to the emotions beyond the person's words. So just kind of like, it sounds like this is what I'm thinking.
Yeah, so you summarize. This is what I'm hearing you say. Is that right? Yeah, such a great tool. Absolutely. Often they'll say, well, kind of, but also this, right? Which is more for them than it is for us. That's important stuff for them to hear. Yeah, excellent. Anything else that we want to put into the space before I move on?
Sure, I'll go ahead.
All right. We're going to get to 10 anyway.
Priscilla's magic wand was full of hope. And it was hope for Kizzy. She's been my assistant for the last 4 years, and I'm trying not to get emotional. So coaching her, I had to almost disconnect the emotion because I didn't expect her to say that.
Yeah.
It was the very first question. She said, if I had a magic wand, I would myself a kidney.
Yeah.
And so she went directly to hope. So when we were talking about hope, I'm like, oh God. So coaching with compassion was easy for me because there's a common ground. But when people walk into your office and you don't know them, you have to create that common ground.
Yes.
Of compassion.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah.
I was just going to mention, as someone who's being coached, I thought, number one, the first question, oh, I want this, I want that. If I had a magical wand, I would live in a beautiful, safe neighborhood. And my coach said, well, what does that look like?
Great
Would you
question.
want to live near the ocean, or would you want to live in the whatever? And I said, no. And I started to think, I want. And then I started to think, I want this for everybody. If I have a magical wand, I want it to be safe for everyone.
Yeah.
I want the world to be a place where we love each other.
Yes.
Very simply.
So beautiful. So beautiful. I love that. And what I want to highlight is if I had my other slide deck up here, I'd bring it back to Maslow's hierarchy. And people say, I've been told, those questions can't be asked to people who don't have a home. And to that, I say, horse bucket. Yes, because we still get a right to dream. We still get a right to talk about what I want my life to be like. I don't want to always talk about survival, right? Let me go into that part of my brain because that's the only way I'm going to get out of this, is that I ignite that. Those are aha moments. Of course we want to ask questions like this. It's not just about survival, right? And we might hear really different answers, and they're so profound for us to hear. What do you dream about? What do you want? Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to talk about this, and then we're going to practice it. And then we've got 2 more practices that we get to do with each other. So the first, we're going to, again, keep talking about coaching. So we're practicing reach. We're just building on that foundation. That is who we are as a coach. And we're living into that all the time. The first belief, and the most important belief I have as a coach, is that you are the expert in your life. Fundamental belief. You're not broken. There's nothing for me to fix. I'm not guiding you anywhere. We're partnering. And if I look at that, if I look at you and hear you talk and about what you want and about what you need, and I'm remembering that you're the expert in your life, then my job isn't to create that path forward and push you through it. My job is to help you understand you better. What are the limiting beliefs? What are those beliefs that are so embedded in your brain that we're not moving forward if opportunity presents itself? Right? What are the beliefs or the habits that you want to create or that you could dare to believe about yourself? Right? We have most of our thoughts that we're thinking all day long are not put in our head by us. They're put in our head by culture and education systems and adults in our life, and we put them in and we go about our 97% unconscious living and we believe them. And rarely do we stop to go, is this really working for me? That's what we're doing in coaching. Is this really working for you? And if not, what else would you like to create? So this is a really important belief, and it changes our identities as human service providers, right? I'm not a fixer. I'm a coach, and I'm going to partner with you to live your best life, whatever that looks like. Thoughts on that before I get you to practice it?
I just like to say, they are the expert in their life, but the life is not going so well for them.
Mm-hmm.
And that would be a struggle that I would have. So you have, the choices that you've been making haven't worked out so well.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not something I would just say to them, but.
Yes,
Right.
I would.
But then how do you?
And so I'm going to ask this first. How many of you can relate to that? I'm the expert in my life, and what I've been doing lately isn't really helping me out so much, right? That's for all of us, first and foremost, probably. And so what we know from neuroscience is that, I'm going to point to you, but I mean to anybody, you making a plan for my life isn't really going to make it any better, right? Because you've probably made a lot of plans for my life that I haven't followed through with. So what coaching reminds us of is the neuroscience of change. So you are the expert in your life. What needs to happen to get you where you want to be, right? We can even have very big open conversations like, this is the 11th time we've met and talked about this. I'm curious, what's going to be different this time? What's important for you? What needs to change? What do you want to start doing and what do you want to stop doing? Right? But when we take the reins and we go, well, I know what you need to do, we're discarding that they're the expert in their life and that they're going to make a plan and they're either going to stick to it or not. And for most of us, I mean, I don't know what everybody does in here, but it's not mandatory that they do what we say, right? So we really want to lean on the neuroscience of coaching that will really help them decide what's my timeline, what's my priorities, right? We want them with that intrinsic change, that holistic intrinsic change from the inside out.
I was wondering if you might want to speak to the consequences of for the individual when we rob them of their process. Most of us acknowledge that meaningful change requires humility, pit of darkness or despair,
Mhm.
where she mentioned that some managers have a hard time allowing their supervisees to fail. And so they never get there. They never get there to that sort of self-awareness around where the incompetence is.
Yeah.
So I just wondered if you felt like you wanted to speak to what the consequences of robbing the process.
Yeah, I love that. I think you're doing a beautiful job of it. I know that I've definitely spent time myself and working with others who are doing the work for others because we don't want them to fail. You don't have a resume? Don't worry. Now you do, right? You don't have this? Don't worry. I got you. I'm going to fix that for you. So I want to put this out to the group because I think it's a beautiful conversation. What do we rob folks of when we don't let them fail, ourselves included? What learning opportunity are we taking away?
A safe space for them to debrief about it.
Yeah.
If we know they're connected with us right now, we know they're going to take this risk, and we've assured them that when that's completed, they can come back and check in with us. We've created that environment where we know someone's going to be there to debrief and have that fail forward.
Yeah,
And
fail forward. I love that. Yeah.
ownership
Yeah.
of the process.
Ownership of the process. I love that. I see one more hand over here. What I want to add to that conversation is that I think we're putting up some facade that it's supposed to look like this, right? This is normal. Yeah, this is normal. Failure is how we learn. I saw a hand over here, over there.
Confidence and that ability to know that I'm, you know, to not feel that you're just going to fail.
Yeah, absolutely. That failure is safe. It's okay. It's not a detriment. It is the path to learning, right? I'm still here with you in failure. I'm still right here. We're right on your path. We didn't get off your path. I'm still right here, right? Yeah.
I wrote it down. You say failure.
And I quote. Yes, what did I say?
The process.
Yeah.
And they're so much stronger than they really give themselves credit for.
Yeah.
They are resilient. They can bounce back. It's
Yeah.
not the end.
Yeah. Building resilience, you know, just the idea, I mean, kind of getting off track here, but the idea of resiliency, you know, resilience is like something has a form, you bend it, and it can return to its original form, right? I don't know about you, but I have worked with a lot of people who didn't have that original form, right? Like I have to build resilience from the scratch as a young person or as an adult because I didn't have that. And so,
Sorry, they talk about the trees that are, the stronger the tree is that it's been in the wind.
yeah,
The roots go so much deeper because
Yeah.
they had to stand in that wind. They
Yeah.
had to struggle.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely, yeah. Beautiful. Thank you for opening up that conversation. I appreciate it. So we're going to practice. Also, I want to ask you, for those of you when we practiced last time, if you found yourself in that fear zone at all, if you were like, oh, I'm just going to really talk about these questions and really think about all these questions and really not get into the activity, or if you suddenly are like, I'm going to go to the bathroom right about now. Oh, some just came up on email. I know she said partner, but 4 is probably fine, right? That's fear zone. So I'm going to put it on you to try to find one partner and engage in the activity. This is the fear zone. And it's your brain saying, you don't have to do this. Oh, you're not going to get it right, right? Just notice it. Notice your experience. Okay, so here's what you're going to do. You're going to find a person. Hopefully we are equal in numbers. You're going to share an area of your life you have a challenge and that you're working to find a solution. You get to edit that in whatever level you'd like. You can make something up if you'd like, although it kind of makes it a little bit harder for the other person. It can be, very little. It can be something big that you're working on. Okay, so your share level is totally up to you. Person B, you're going to listen as though you are the expert in their life. All right? So we're just going to play. I just want to, don't worry. We'll switch. But right now, you're listening as though you are the expert in their life. I just want you to play around here and feel this. Notice. We'll only do it for a couple minutes, but I want you to feel this. What do you do? What do you say? All right? Questions? We are now, so first of all, I want you to know, just it was hilarious up here. Your face was beet red. I saw I'm just going to emphasize everything that you need to be doing. I loved it. So we're going to debrief this, but first we're going to do the other part of this, okay? So you're in the same pair, the same person. Person A is sharing the same issue, okay? So we're not going to switch roles in this. So person A, I'm going to switch this. So person A, you are still person A. And you're going to share that challenge again, just like you did a moment ago. Now you're listening, person B, you're listening as though they are the expert in their life. Okay, so we're practicing reach. We're just noticing where we're nodding, what we're emphasizing, what we're honoring in them. Okay? Any questions? We're going to do another 3 minutes, really short. If you are person A, raise your hand. Okay, person A, those of you who have your hands raised, anybody willing to share your experience between the first round and the second round? What did it feel like? What did you hear? So to see if you can speak about it through kind of a sensory. I heard you say, this is what it felt like, right? We've got one right here and then one over here.
Well, the first interaction, she was giving me all the resources and asking me what I've already done and have I tried this and this and this and this and this. And I just felt like there's nothing left. Like I have tried all those things.
Yeah.
And I'm out.
Yes. Yeah.
Sorry I mentioned it.
Okay. Sorry I mentioned it. Yeah. We are laughing, but that is real. God, I'm sorry. Of course I've tried all these things. I'm sorry I mentioned it. Yep. Now I'm kind of nodding to just appease you. Yeah. What about?
Switch.
Yeah.
And I know Julie, so I shared something that was real.
Yeah.
And hard, and I got teary, but I've been empowered.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, that's a beautiful moment. I mean, and again, this is us having to get comfortable with people in their fear zone and their vulnerability. There is a beautiful moment that when we are expressing emotion, something's there. And it's an important something, and it will influence my follow-through, right? So how do we open that up? Not in a counselor therapeutic. We're not counselors. We're not therapists. Well, some of you are counselors. I'm not a counselor, and I'm not doing therapy. I'm really clear about what my lane is, but we can open up an emotion and talk about it. Absolutely. Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that, both of you.
In the first instance, I felt like she wasn't listening at all, which shut me down.
Yeah.
And she had an agenda.
Yeah. She had an agenda. Yep.
And in the switch, it felt like we were having a conversation.
Yeah.
Like I could let down and really tell her how I was feeling.
So beautiful.
Which is the issue, not the fix it part.
Yeah. 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 That's beautiful. So the script that I hear a whole lot about why we advise, if I'm the expert in your life, I'm advising you, right? Why we advise is because we just don't have time. Coaching takes a long time, but it works. And so we might actually find ourselves with more time. And it's a great thought that we're having that we can go, is that true? What if I did have time? How would I do this? How could I coach given the time that I have? Right? It's a beautiful self-coaching moment. Because otherwise we go into advising and we just heard two beautiful explanations of what that feels like. Yeah. Great. Okay, I gotta hurry myself up. I've only got 23 minutes, and I do want you to have one more practice, but I'm gonna blend coaching tip 2 and coaching tip 3. I'm going to hand out, this is it for what I have. So if there aren't enough, please connect with a colleague. If you have, as long as one of you gets it, you can make copies. You can take a picture, and also I was asked if you could have slides, and absolutely, of the opening and of this, I just need your email. So at the end, I'll put my email, or if you have a card, put it over here, and let me know, and I'm happy to share, or if there's some other more advanced way of doing that, I'm happy to do that too. All right, coaching tip 2. So you remember the AHA, you remember Maslow's competency scale that we theory that we talked about this morning. So we're trying to create an AHA. That literally is what we're after, is that moment of, oh, this is what's going on for me. This is what I want to change. This is the thought that's determining the outcome that's not assisting me right now. Okay? So we do that through many different tools, but one of our power tools is open-ended questions. In coaching, the idea is that we're talking, as coaches, we're talking about 20% of the time, and those we're serving are talking about 80% of the time, because there aren't really a lot of ahas if I'm doing the thinking for you. Right, and the exploration and the planning for you. So we're really purposeful. In coach training, when we get into our coach training program through International Coaching Federation, we use an app that literally measures the amount of time that the coach is talking. Because if we're doing a lot of talking, we're probably not coaching, right? So we're asking open-ended questions. And we can do this even if we're not a coach. We can, in terms of like a certified professional coach, these are how we can create some really beautiful coachable moments. So we're asking questions like who, what, when, where, how. And very rarely, and in fact, I might even say never, do we throw in why. Because why can feel kind of judgy. Right? Especially if my amygdala is primed and looking at the world through bottom-up thinking, right? Why didn't you call me? Why didn't you get that done? Why didn't you come today? Can feel a whole lot like you didn't get it right. You didn't do it the right way. So we're asking these questions. If we hear ourselves listing off options, did you try, have you thought about, we're probably not asking open-ended questions, right? So I'm going to add one more thing to this, and then we'll come back. So in conjunction with this tip 2, which is asking open-ended questions, these questions should be solution-focused, possibility-oriented. If we're asking questions like, well, what happened yesterday that you didn't get that done? Where did all of my energy go? Problem, yesterday, all of things which I have zero control of, and we've probably just activated my sympathetic nervous system and my analytic networks, right? So I might defend, I might go into story, I might tell you about my very super busy day. And as I'm telling you about all those things, I'm having a stress response. And now you want to problem solve with me, but now I'm in my lower reactionary brain, right? So when we're asking questions, if what we meant was, what needs to happen to get this done? Let's ask that. How can I help you in reaching this goal? What does support look like? that takes all my energy over here to solution, where I have more control and power, right? So what I handed out is a list of questions. These obviously, you can Google coaching questions. You can buy coaching books with millions of questions in them. I think we can get caught in the weeds on that and get stuck being like, what's the next question I should ask? What's the right question? You know, and we're doing the while in my mind I'm thinking about the next question. So I think instead, if we just remember why we're asking the questions. We're asking the questions because we want them to have an aha. We want them to get to the part of their brain where they are more likely to reach solution, to think about the outcomes of choices that they're making, to set goals, the part of the brain that we want online for this incredible journey that they're on. So I'm asking open-ended questions, and I really want to work to make sure that those are open-ended questions. And I will tell you that our tendency is to ask about questions that drag us into problems. In staffings, you can listen if you attend staffings ever. We all just kind of share what didn't work that week with somebody, right? How could we shift that? Or in meetings, we can really get stuck on why things won't work or what actually, didn't happen or didn't work. How can we shift that into more solution-focused thinking? The research tells us that when we purposely move to solution-focused thinking, we get to better outcomes in the same or less time. So when we focus on a problem and when we let those we're working with focus on a problem, when we just allow a conversation to go, we are really getting to be experts in the problem. They are getting to be experts in the problem. We are no closer to the solution. So not that we want to interrupt, although sometimes I do. I'll say things like, I'm hearing you talk about what happened last year or 2 years ago, and I really appreciate that perspective. How does that inform this goal that we're working on, right? And what I've done is pivot you over to this new future ideal self, right? And they're going to come right back around, and we come back, because that's what we tend to do. We have a negativity bias. We're drawn to that. We talk about the problem. So in coaching, we're really practicing with this. So you've got a list of questions that you can look at that are really all open-ended and all solution-focused. There's scaling questions. I love scaling questions. On a scale of 1 to 10, where would you say you're at on that right now? What would you say you're a 2? What makes you a 2 and not a 1? I love that question, because 2 seems like it's pretty low, right? But you're not a 1. And so tell me about what you've already got in place that makes you a 2 and not a 1. What do you need to do to become a 3? Not a 10, but a 2.5, a 2 1/4. What do those steps look like, right? So, how am I doing on time? I've got time. I want to do this. I love this activity. I love having people read these because I think we get to hear it. So I'm looking for a problem-focused volunteer over here. Spencer, again, you're going to reinforce this, all right? You should come over and be the solution-focused. Yeah, let's do I love that. We'll have the same ones. All right. We ask these questions all the time. So just listening, where am I directing somebody's attention when I ask the question, all right? So, you need like a Grinch outfit. All right, so Spencer, take it away. Y'all know what to do.
Why didn't you hit your targets?
What do you need to do next time to hit your targets?
Why did this happen?
What do you want to achieve here?
Where did it all start to go wrong?
Ouch. What do you need to do to move? What do you need to do to move this forward?
Why do you think you're not good at this?
But people say that, right? I'm not good at this. Why do you think you're not good at this? Right? We're just asking them to list every negative trait that they think about themselves.
And that first one will probably be because you're
Ouch. All right, where are we at?
So how can you get stronger in this area?
What's wrong with your team?
What does your team need to do to win?
Why did you do that?
What do you think, what do you want to do next?
Who's responsible for this?
Who can achieve this?
Why isn't this working?
What do we need to make this work?
Beautiful. Thank you, volunteers. And now you know, because you're with us this morning on this journey, not only are we bringing their brain into present and future, but we're activating positive emotional attractors. We're activating the parasympathetic nervous system. We are targeting a brain response. We're doing this on purpose. So, you get to practice. So if you were, I want you to switch, find the same partner and switch. If you were A, you're now going to be B. Okay? So switching roles. Hold on, let me give it to you. You can use, here's what you're going to use. I've given you a cheat sheet. You can also use the questions I just gave you. This is on the other side of your reach. Notice it's nice and thick so you can keep it desk side to practice. I'm going to walk you through this real quick. Now you can play and go off of this, but these are 5 questions that will change the direction of a conversation. Think about this can be in a meeting, this can be in a one-on-one session, this can be used anywhere, okay? So somebody's telling you, here's my problem, here's what's not working. And we just pause and we go, what do you want instead of this? What do you want instead of this problem? Be specific. We've just changed the direction of the conversation. What resources or steps do you already have in place? Not what's needed and what's not working, but what's already there. We're priming a brain. On a scale of 1 to 10, where are you on achieving this? Get a number. Lots of people go, I don't know. See if you can get a number. Okay, I hear you. What number would that be? What action steps are you willing to take? What resources or steps are needed? It's a powerful set of questions. So I want you to play with it. Now, I'm not doing the every time 100% it's going to work, because we're working with humans who will take us all over. But as a coach, we are also helping to guide the conversation to a place where we're moving towards solution. So I'm not the expert in your life, but I am influencing the outcome. If I spend the 15 minutes I have with you talking about what doesn't work and what the problem is, I have not assisted you in moving forward. I have not, right? So this is a great tip to help change the conversation. So we're just going to play with it. We're just going to go through it one time, so just one person will get to practice. You have the script in front of you, and you also have a list of other questions should you just feel like you'd like to skip around and do other things. So you're going to share. So the other person now is going to share an area of their life where they have a challenge and they're working to find a solution, and all the same things you can share at whatever level feels safe and right for you. Person B, no pressure, but you're going to create an aha moment that even Oprah would be proud of. By using open-ended, thought-provoking, solution-focused questions. I love the enthusiasm. I can't tell you how often I get to hear from people how good coaching feels on all sides of the dimension, or whatever I'm trying to say. I've talked a lot today. On all sides of it. It feels good because as a coach, it decreases burnout for me, right? Because I don't have to fix this, or you are whole and beautiful, And you're the expert in your life. My job is to help you discover you, which is a whole different level of work, right? So it's less of a load that we're carrying when we change to that identity. If you loved this, come play with us in Essential Coaching Skills. This is what we do. We learn a lot of different models. We practice. We spend a lot of time integrating it. So we learn something, we get together and we practice. We find coaching partners. Most everybody who's in these are from workforce development, and they are practicing and they're getting uncomfortable and they're learning how to do this work. So if this is something, you can tell that this is learning how to think and be and listen and speak in a totally different way. It really takes some skill to get in there and to do it. So lots of ways that we can connect. I'm going to switch over to this slide just so you have it. As we do our collaborative close, what I want you to do is think about the question, what are you walking away with today? What are you walking away with today? And it can be from this session, it can be from any part of the day. One sentence at your table, just pass it around. One sentence. Because I'm pretty sure there's a reception out there and, and we should get to it. So one sentence, what are you walking away with today? Okay? I want your ears for one more minute. If you want the slide deck, either email me, grab a card, or leave your card. Oh, we have extras too. That's great. So if you want the slide deck from this morning or this afternoon, we have to connect. Lastly, tomorrow morning, we're doing the mindfulness broadcast in the morning here. Come join us. It's a way to fill your bucket. So come join us in the morning for that. I think it's 8:30. 8 to 8:30, something in the morning. All right, thank you, everybody. Thank you so much.